Okay, Bruchim Abba, welcome everyone, Shalom Aleichem. Firstly, as I mentioned yesterday, regards from the Holy Chafetz Chaim. He's very, he gets a lot of nachas that we learn Mishnah Berura every day. And being at the kever, first of all, two very interesting chidushim. First of all, on the kever of the Chafetz Chaim, it says that he accomplished great peulais, leman lechvoid Hashem, lechvoid Tairasai, ulechvoid Amai. He did everything to honor God, to honor the Torah, to honor His people. It's interesting, I noticed the very first words of the Mishnah Berura on Yiskaber Baboiker, Yiskaber Ka'ari Lamoid Baboiker, the Mishnah Berura says in Chelek Aleph, because the Mishnah Berura says that this is the purpose of man's creation. I want to read to you his words. The Mishnah Berura says, when the Mechaber says, let me get you the exact words. Yisgaber ka'ari lamoid baboiker. The Mishnah Berura says, Ki lekach nivra ha'adam. That's what man was created for. Kamay she'amar ha'kasav. Koil hanikra b'shmi v'lechvoidi barasiv. Everything was created to honor Hashem, which exactly sums up the life of the Chafetz Chaim. So it just struck me that the opening words of the Mishnah Berura are really Ru'uyim L'misha Amrai. Also, if you notice the final words of Mishnah Berura, also it's like Pisachenu Megadim, where the final words of the Mishnah Berura Chelek Vav are, there is an inyan to make a Sudan Perm Katan. The Mishnah Berura says L'chvoid Hanes, also to honor the miracle of Hashem, which is how the Mishnah Berura begins. Okay, we're up to Siman Kuf Chav Ches, Seif Lamed Ches. And we learned an interesting halach yesterday, that since Duchaning is like the Avodah, so just like whatever you'd be chayiv misa for having drunk before the Avodah, you're not allowed a Duchan for. Technically, it doesn't say you're not allowed a Duchan when you drink, but they're compared. Therefore, it's only if you drink it derech shichros. So if you drink it in 2 gulps, or you put a little water in it, even though technically it's not less intoxicating, but the manner of drinking is not as much derech shichros. Okay, and the Mishnah Berura pointed out, Siman Sivkatan Kuf Lamed Tes, that if you drink it in 2 gulps or you dilute it, in such a situation, the Beis HaMikdash you would not be chayiv. Varaki Surah Ba'alma would only be Asar, Ulahachi B'Nasiyas Kapayim, Tequila Me Avoida, therefore Duchning, which is more lenient than Avoida, Mutter L'chadchila, it's Mutter L'chadchila. Okay, says the Mechaber, that if you drank more than a revius, afal pi shuhu mazog, even though it's diluted, va'afilu shesai bekama pa'amim, even if you drank it in many gulps, lo yisas kapav yinal aduchin, ad sheyasar yena me'alav, until you sober from the wine. Says the Mishnah Berura Kuf Mem, afal pi shuhu mazog, deb'chihai gavna ba'mikdash chayev, because in such a circumstance you would be chayev in the mikdash. Ad sheyasar. Ayin Siman Tzadi Tesef Beis V'Shach Gam Lakan, regarding the parameters of sobering up. V'chol zeh le'inyan yayin. This is all regarding wine. Avo b'shar mashkin hamashakrin, other beverages that are intoxicate. Kasam Magen Ram demotel isakapav afilu nishtaka ad shen yachal dar b'fnei hamelech debetfila kahai gavna tfilasai tayeva kedil el b'siman Tzadi Tes v'nasiyas kapai mutter. Mendy, here we have it straight up, that if you drink, let's say, whiskey, or bourbon, or vodka, you are allowed to duchen. Even if you drink so much that you can't be oimei lefnei hamelech, even though you would not be able to daven Shemona Esrei, and your tefillah would be a toyeva, but you could duchen, because duchening is not oimei lefnei hamelech. The Shulchan Aruch Harav explains exactly what we said. By tefillah, you're oimed umedaber l'fnei hamelech, and a shikar is not roy l'daber l'fnei hamelech. By birchas koyanim, you're speaking to the people. So you can't speak to God intoxicated. You could speak to Yankel intoxicated. You do it every Tuesday anyway, so why can't you do it by duchening? Okay, Unless you've reached the shichrus of light, then you are reckoned an imbecile. Many achronim dispute this. They are the holiest, the Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, the Taz, at great lengths. The Siman, the Gam, B'shar Mashkin, they hold even by other liquids. Kol shenishtaker bahen. Any time you are so intoxicated, they say if you're not able to be oimel ne'amach, you're not a Duchan. Uveyayin migitai, grape juice, basically wine straight from the barrel that hasn't fermented. Das Maggid Avram lesson nasias kapayim. The Maggid Avram says you're not a Duchan. V'kam achronim cholkim lav kivan she'ena meshaker. What about a Kohein? Because he's so weak, he has to be Mekadesh before Musaf. So the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says he should hear Kiddush from someone else. What if he has to drink Revius to be Yotzei Kiddush? So the Chai Adam says, okay, drink it in 2 gulps. The Bir Halacha says that our wine definitely is diluted. What about Lamaisa grape juice in our time, where not only is it not fermented, it cannot ferment? That's a big controversy, by the way. Can our grape juice ferment? Because if it can't, how in the world could you use it for Kiddush? You know, it's one thing, it has not fermented, but our grape juice has preservatives in it. You know, preservatives prevent fermentation. So, over Pesach, I heard a shiur regarding, there's a question about grape juice, a fundamental question, whether it could be used for Kiddush. Why? Because it cannot ferment. Meaning, not only did it not ferment, it cannot ferment. The question is that true? In other words, there might only be enough preservatives to prevent spoilage, but possibly, maybe it could still ferment. It's a question. Friday night, I personally do not use grape juice for Kiddush because it's Dairaisa, and I don't use it for Havdalah either. Shabbos morning, I do use it, but there is what to discuss regarding the kashrus of it. Okay. Simchas Torah, the Levush says that the Kohanim are not noyeg to go to the Duchan because of shichras. Fine. Sif Lametes. Let's say the Kohen had nothing preventing him from being able to Duchan, even though he is not punctilious in the performance of mitzvahs, and people are swirling rumors about him that he's not Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Other sins do not prevent Nesias Kapayim. Let's say he's over the Avera, he brings a phone into shul. So it's a big sin. And his tefillah, it's a question whether it's going to work or not. But he could still Duchan. Right? It's only if he's a murderer he can't Duchan. But other sins, we're not going to disqualify him. Says the Mishnah Berura, Echad me'advar matzolaimer haniskar b'siman zeh. Other things mentioned. The siman she'ena medaktim mitzvahs. Hainu afilu mitzvahs chamurais ka'arayis v'chadayma. In other words, let's say he lives with a nida. Let's say his wife is not careful in taras hamishpacha. Let's say he's not careful in negia, which is yehareg v'al yavar in most cases. Still he could Duchan. Meranenim acharav afilu rinun shel emes. Even if the rumors are true, shumafursam lakaber shasai. He is well known in his wickedness. She'ein shar averos perish chutz me avodas gilulim, except for idolatry, shvichas damim, and murder, v'chanal. Moinim. Hainu afilu loy asa tshuva chatav. That's even if he didn't do tshuva. However, the Pri Megadim says that's only if he does a l'teyavai, but if he's a mumar, lahachis, Pri Megadim says, is like a guy. V'atam kasar Rambam, lefi shazu mitzvah saseh al kol koyin v'koyin sharoi l'nasias kapayim. The Rambam says the reason why sins will not prevent him from duchening is because he has a positive command, Every Kohen has a positive command. Every Kohen who is fit to Duchan has a positive command to Duchan. Ve'ein oimrim la'adam rasha. We don't say to a wicked person, Seif resha v'himana min ha-mitzvahs. We don't say to a wicked person, do more wickedness and don't do mitzvahs. Meaning, just because he did one thing wrong, why add insult to injury? V'al tisma v'toymar. Don't wonder and say, Uma toya berchas had yotzeh. Don't wonder and say, how will the blessing of such a guy help? He's an oiver avera b'farhesia. Everybody knows he's a sinner. No. She'ein kibal abracha tol b'kayhanim al-kadosh baruch hu. Because answers the Kohanim are not blessing the people. You're not getting a bracha from the Kohanim. The Kohanim are telling Hashem to be mavarich, and Hashem is mavarich. Shenemar v'samu eshemi al b'nei Yisrael. You put my name on Yisrael. V'ani avarchem. HaKohanim oisin mitzvasen shenestavu ba. The Kohanim do the mitzvah they're commanded. V'akadosh baruch hu barachamav. And God in His mercy, mavarich es Yisrael kecheftzai, blesses the Jewish people according to His will. Adkan l'shainai. By the way, there's another pshan, Va'ani avarchem, is Hashem blesses the Kohanim. But there is certainly an understanding that it means Hashem blesses the people. Okay, Rabbi Say, we will pick it up tomorrow in Seif Mem. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Kol tov, everyone.